When you have affordability and a Black Friday sale and an awesome fragrance house and you put them together, this girl is very excited. Hello, my gorgeous ones. Welcome to Aleisha Budget Beauty. My name is Aleisha. Here on my channel, I love all things affordable fashion, beauty, and fragrance. I do hauls, tutorials, reviews, and bringing you guys the awesome fragrance sales, all sorts of fun stuff. So if that sounds good to you, please subscribe, stick around, be a friend. Okay, you guys, I am very excited to bring this video to you guys today because yes, you know me. I love when I get a good deal on something. I love when I find high quality, whether it's fragrance or fashion, makeup at a really good price. Like those two together is what gets my juices going. And I have the fragrance house, Julianna'S Perfumes, to share with you guys today. They so very generously sent me 21 full-size bottles and 4 samples. And when I tell you guys know, I keep it very, very, very real on my channel. When I tell you guys there was not one that I did not like, that is not a lie. Literally every single fragrance I tried was high quality, smelled great. And I'm actually gonna tell you guys my top 10 and an honorable mention and my favorite sample, just to keep this video a little bit more concise. But in the future, I will be talking about all of these because I think they are all worthy of the review and to share with you guys. But what I also want to tell you about is the Black Friday sale. It is actually going on right now when you're seeing this. It started already and there is 35% off to 50% off. And we are talking like full size 40 mils for I believe about $23. And as much fragrance as I received so graciously, I'm gonna purchase myself because that's how much I believe in this house and how good I think it is. And I like to always show you guys that even if I'm gifted something in PR, when I put my stamp of approval on it, I will also put my money where my mouth is. So I will be purchasing myself. That's how much I enjoy this house. So they do mainly inspired by fragrances. And then they also do some combinations. They'll take 2 existing fragrances, niche, high-end, and blend them together. There's also some where they will take an existing fragrance, but they'll add some of their own little elements to it, like add an ozonic note or like amp up the volume on one of the notes just to give it their own little spin. And then they do also have some of their own blends, their own creations, which I think is awesome. I love to see that the creativity and the originality is also in this brand as well. But you guys, let's go ahead and get into this. Let me talk about my favorites because I'm obviously, you guys can tell, I'm really excited. All right, you guys, so I actually took notes when I was smelling all of these because, you know, it's a lot to smell 21 fragrances, actually 25, including the samples. And I really wanted to get my honest, real first reactions written down. And this is the fragrance that I chose to wear today. It is absolutely one of my favorites out of the entire bunch. This is Time for Romance. Here's what it looks like. Some of the bottles have a design like this one here. And then this one is the more classic minimalistic, but it is a 40 mil. Also, these are very long lasting. I find them to last all day as well. And they project beautifully. But you guys, A Time for Romance, the second I sprayed this, I freaked out because I thought at first this was a dupe for Penhaligon's Changing Consonants. That is a fragrance that has been on my wish list. I have an inspired by that fragrance and it is just a dream. So this is actually inspired by Moni et Demi. I've never smelled that, so it's not inspired by Penhaligon's. By the way, Penhaligon's is a very expensive British niche brand. Prince Charles wears their fragrances. So I thought this was Changing Consonants, but it's not. And then as it was drying down, I realized, oh, it actually also kind of smells like Armani's Magneta Tanzanite. And I have one that smells like that as well. So it's kind of like a mix between the two. But here's what I wrote down. Thought this was a dupe for Penhaligon's Change in Consonant. Smelled the pimento right away, which I love. Smelled the cedarwood, cardamom, very faint coffee, caramel. Cashmerean makes it soft and elegant. Sweet vanilla, tobacco-like. Also reminds me of Armani Magneta Tanzanite in the dry down. So, oh man, you guys, I wore this all day. I just can't get enough of it. I have a few fragrances that have pimento in it, and there is something about pimento and fragrance that is so addictive to me. I love it. This is absolutely, definitely top 3 for me. Maybe my favorite out of the whole bunch. It is unique. It kind of just tantalizes the senses. It's something very different. If you are slightly adventurous with fragrance, you don't have to be extremely adventurous because this isn't too crazy. But if you want to smell something that maybe you've never smelled before, or if you've always wanted something like what it's inspired by or like Penhaligon's Consonants, highly recommend A Time for Romance. All right, the next one we have here is Kissed by an Angel. And I'm sure as soon as you hear Angel, you probably know that this is inspired by Kilian's Angel Share. I do have the original. I also have several inspired bys of Angel Share. And what I've kind of found, and I love this about some inspired fragrances, is none are like spot on, but they're very, very, very close. And I like that because I'm not just repeating and repeating myself. They all have a little bit of something different in it. What I think is slightly different about this that I actually enjoy a lot is I got more cinnamon right out the gate instead of this sort of apple quality that Angel Share has. It also didn't smell quite as sweet at first, which some people think Angel Share is just too sweet for them. So the cinnamon cuts into that. And then it's also not as heavily boozy, you know, and I know some people love that and some people, the boozy quality to Angel Share bothers them. So I think it's definitely very close, but it has its own thing going, which again, I think is a great thing. What I wrote down, the cinnamon really stands out here while some dupes smell more apple pie-like. It's not as boozy. I get a little orange as well. Smells well balanced, not as sweet, gets a little bit sweeter as it dries down. So yes, the orange in here does really develop on the skin. And I don't really get anything orangey, honestly, out of Angel Share. This is more of a toned down apple pie boozy with more kick of that cinnamon and a touch of orange. I think it's gorgeous. It is perfect for this time of year, and it's obviously so much more affordable than the real deal. Okay, the next one does have a print on it. So this is Heaven's Reflection, and this is one of their own blends. And this makes me excited because it's one thing if you can kind of replicate, you know, existing fragrances. It's quite another if you can come up with your own and be successful. And this is stunning. I actually had my husband smell this today because I thought this was one he might really enjoy because he likes more ozonic, marine, aquatic, kind of fresh. And I definitely get that from this, but it also has a gorgeous peach in here that really starts to develop once it's on the skin. It's honestly kind of hard to smell it straight out of the bottle. I did just spray this not too long ago for my husband, so it's still sitting here really potent whenever I'm smelling it. And the peach, not so much right here, but once it gets on the skin, the peach just blossoms and it's such a pretty touch. And there's also a bit of warmth here, which is interesting and cool because I think a lot of times when you hear marine and you think of blue fragrance, you think of it being a bit cooler. And this is like a nice little duality between that and then its warm base. So let me actually read my first impressions. Smelled marine, fresh, orange citrus with some warmth, not a solely summer scent because of its warmer base. Cardamom is an awesome touch. The peach really develops. Patchouli, perfectly blended. Cannot pick it out. So you guys, me and patchouli, like How many times have I said that on my channel? It's fine if it doesn't overpower fragrance and it doesn't stand out. And honestly, it is perfectly blended in here. I do not notice it. So if you're interested in this and then you read patchouli and you hate patchouli, it's fine. You don't smell it in here. I'm sure it just enhances the wear time and kind of the depth of this fragrance and makes it, like I said, this can go very summer, but I think this can work fall as well because of that warmer cardamom patchouli in the base. All right, this next one is London Fog. As soon as I sprayed this, I knew right away this is inspired by Gris Charnel by BDK. Now I do have a sample of the original, so I know exactly what it smells like. And then I do have another inspired by of it as well. But this one is so good. This one is honestly, you guys, this is better than the original. It is better than the original, I am telling you. The original BDK, it kind of disappears on me. It's very faint. It takes a while for it to develop. When I got the sample, I was wearing it. I was like, well, I really like how it smells, but like I almost was getting a nausea to it where I couldn't smell it that well. And it was kind of a shame because I liked it. It just was like missing something. This is so well done. This is a gorgeous fig, tea, iris and tonka bean fragrance. It is beyond cozy. This is a dark, gloomy day sort of fragrance, and it is just stunning. It is perfectly balanced. That fig and tea in here is done so beautifully. And then that iris is just powdery enough to where it's not baby powder, but it just sort of lifts things. Like you feel like you're floating in the dark clouds in this. It is so stunning, perfectly unisex. This is one like boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife can pass back and forth. Okay, now this one, I knew that it was going to be some sort of Bakarat Rouge inspired because Aurora Extrait and then any of the other Bakarat have Aurora in it that I had already smelled. So it was kind of cheating. I knew, I was like, okay, this can be Bakarat, but I can smell Bakarat from a mile away. I would have known anyway. However, you guys, I have never smelled the Bakarat Extrait. I've only smelled the original Bakarat Rouge and then a million other like copies of it. I've never smelled the Extrait and I like it so much more. It is the bitter almond in here that takes it to a whole new level. And somehow it cuts into that medicinal quality that Bakarat can have and others like it. You know, Bakarat Rouge is, man, people love it, people hate it. Then there's people like me who loved it the first time I smelled it and then I just got tired of smelling it, to be honest, to where it wasn't as pleasant anymore. And I normally love saffron in a fragrance, but even in Bakarat, the saffron is just a lot. That bitter almond in this, you guys, I love it so much. So here is what I wrote down. Kept thinking, this is a version of Bakarat 540, but wait, there's something really unique and interesting, different. Love the bitter almond, much better than the original. That bitter almond and absence of praline, that's right, makes me love this. So yeah, I think that praline in the original with the saffron is just, I don't know, it just has started to almost give me like a nauseating feeling, but that absence of the praline, the bitter almond in here is like, yes, Bakarat is back. And it is so good. Okay, you guys, Miss Independent, such a cute name for what this is duping. This is duping Kilian's Princess, but Kilian Princess really has such a long, kind of pretentious name. I've been calling it Kilian Princess for, like, I honestly, to be honest, I always thought it was just called Kilian Princess until I knew that it was like, you don't need a king or you don't need a prince to be a prince. It's this really long name. But Miss Independent is funny because the whole real name is about not needing a prince to be a princess. So this is a dupe of that, of Kilian Princess. And I had never smelled Killian Princess. It had always been on my list. I had an idea of what it would smell like. Holy moly, I don't need it now because this is so good. I don't need the original. This is such a dream. I smelled right away the tea in this, and it was such a beautiful green tea. But then it also smelled like sweet biscuits, or like a sweet biscuits or a not so sweet cookie. It's just the right amount of sweetness. So I can just imagine having a nice tea in my gorgeous girly little floral dress in the English countryside, and then I've got like my little sweet biscuit. That's what this smells like. It is elegant, it's stunning, it's gourmand meets a beautiful tea fragrance. I love it so much. So I wrote down gorgeous lemon tea with sweetness, almost sweet biscuit-like, having tea and biscuits. Green tea comes out even more, ginger not too much, apple is very subtle, just enough vanilla and marshmallow sweetness. Oh my goodness, you guys, if you've had Killian Princess on your list and you don't want to spend the money, Miss Independent is going to be your girl. All right, the next one is the Village of Rich Delicacies. And this one, I know it's inspired by Greenwich Village by Bond Number 9, which I do have the original. But this is one where they added something, I believe, a little bit to make it a little bit more of their own. And honestly, I had forgotten I'd already smelled the Village, their version of Greenwich Village. And then I smelled this and I sprayed it on. I was going to bed that evening and I'm like, what is this? This smells so familiar. It's so good, but it was right on the cusp of my memory. And then I realized, oh, it's a Greenwich Village, but it's a little different and I like it better. And I mean, I love my Bond Number 9s. Like the Bond Number 9 is what got me into being obsessed with fragrance about 18, 20 years ago. And what got me buying more like niche fragrances. So it has a special place in my heart, but this, I like it better. And so it's the citrus in this amped up that makes it different than the original for me. And I like it better. It's crazy that I like it better because I love my Greenwich Village. But what I wrote down, a more gourmand, more nuanced Greenwich Village, perfect balance of citrus, floral, and ambroxan gourmand base. So yes, it is a perfect balance of a gourmand, citrusy, bright fragrance with some floral elements to it. It is classy, elegant, socialite type of fragrance. This smells very, to me, spring, summer. Beautifully done. And then this one does have flowers on the bottom. Okay, this next one, as soon as I smelled it, I knew right away because I do own the original. I was like, oh, it's Lyra, Cosmerati Lyra, but Xerjoff. And it's beautiful. This is a really, really good dupe, you guys. Like I said, I have the original. It is pricey. So if you've ever wanted it, you could totally get this. I just love this scent profile. If you've smelled Devotion by Dolce & Gabbana, it's also very similar, but more complicated than that. So I wrote down Lyra right away, lemon bars with a touch of cinnamon, touch of lavender aromatics. So yes, even though it doesn't, Lyra does not say lemon. I believe it's like orange or citrus, something like that. It doesn't say lemon. I've always smelled lemon bars from it. And that aromatics in here of the lavender and that cinnamon is what just kind of is like you took lemon bar, you sprinkled a little cinnamon, and then that aromatics is what makes it more complex, I think, than say Devotion. It's beautiful, you guys. It's gourmand-ish, it is, but it's a very wearable, elegant, classy type of gourmand. Okay, this next one is Beautiful Bella. This is inspired by Dama Blanca, Xerjoff's Dama Blanca. Always wanted to blind buy that one, have held off. Now I don't need it. This is perfectly fine. Perfectly gorgeous is what it is. And I'll tell you, it is the lime in here that really gets me. The lime and the balance of the ambroxan, the musk, and the vanilla in the base. If you smell Maud Vanilla by Ariana Grande, that's very much what this is like in this base, but then you've got that brightness, tanginess of the lime. And I think lime is very underused in fragrance. Often the citrus is either orange or lemon or bergamot. I love lime in a fragrance, so I'm not surprised that I love this. I wrote down powdery sweet lime with vanilla musk and soft woods. Kind of smells a bit like Born in Roma meets Lyra, key lime pie, fluffy vanilla wood. So yes, there is something, it's the balance of the kind of fruity woody that gives me a little bit of Born in Roma. And then later on, I realized kind of the Maud vanilla. So it's like, think Born in Roma, Maud vanilla, sort of a Lyra vibe as well. If you've smelled any of those or a combination of two and put them together, then you have an idea what this smells like. It's beautiful. Now this very last one is kind of best for last, but then there's some others that rival it. But this is the one that I have been dying to smell the original for so long. And now I'm like, oh, I know what it smells like and it smells so good, but I'm perfectly happy with this Inspired By. This is a Kiss in the Maldives. So you got this little couple here on the front kissing. This is Inspired By One Umbrella for Two. The bottle for this has always caught my attention for the original. I just always thought it looked so unique and interesting. And I knew that there was a rice note in the original. And I've just been really curious about it. This is the most, out of all of these, this is the most unique, the most niche, the most kind of stretch what you're accustomed to smelling. Like no designer fragrances smell like this. It has such a kind of tangy, almost unripened black currant note. So you can smell this sort of deep reddy purple unripened sort of fruit in here. And then that rice note is so unique and cool, you guys. It is beautiful. I kept smelling it. I was like, this is so interesting. This is so interesting. They also added an ozonic element to it. So that's not in the original. They added this ozonic element. And what I get from this is a tropical destination. Like we're talking like a hut type of vibes on the beach with like damp, wet palm trees everywhere. And this storm rolls in and you've got this sort of like humid element, but then you've also got like the ocean breeze coming through, and you've got, I don't know why you're making rice in a hut, just go with me. You're boiling some rice and it all comes together in such a unique, like I feel like I am transported. I am somewhere else. I am somewhere where an ocean is nearby, but it just feels like a humid tropical rain and it feels sexy. Like I think that's why they're making out, right? Like one umbrella for two, like come get under this umbrella and like let's make out in the warm rain. I love it. My husband also loves this as well. Like he was like, that's really cool. That's really good. So I'm just, you know what's so cool too about this brand is you get to try some of these fragrances that have always been on your list that maybe it's completely out of the realm of possibility. Because let's face it, who can blind buy $200 to $500 perfumes all the time? Like you can't, and you don't need to when you have really great inspired buys like this. And then also so cool that they add like their own touches. I think that's so neat. All right, now this is my honorable mention. This is her Narcotic Mango. The reason why I don't have it in my 10 is I think this is done very well. It's one I just have to be a little bit more in the mood for, but I think it's beautiful. And I knew right away, I was like, I bet this is inspired by Wilhelm's Mango Skin. Never smelled that. I will soon. I just purchased the Discovery set yesterday, as a matter of fact. I've smelled two other Wilhelm Sparkling Joe and another one that escapes me right now. But this is done beautifully. It's also one of the combos where it's Wilhelm, but then it's also Mango Narcotic. Never smelled that one. This is a really bright, juicy strong mango. I mean, you get mango straight out the gate. And I have a couple of mango fragrances that I really like, but sometimes I think they can go too syrupy. But this one is like a kind of tart, ripe, not overly sweet mango. And what I wrote down is pretty mango, fresh, also peach and blackberry, smooth florals, well blended, orris adds silkiness, sweet vanilla wood base. So it's not just mango. There's definitely more going on here. The peach is kind of blocked by the mango at first, but then once you smell the peach, you kind of can't unsmell it. It just kind of, it takes a minute for you to get it. And I almost get like more peach than anything later on, but definitely at first is that bright, fresh mango. And there is that orris, I think definitely like rounds this out. It just kind of makes it silky smooth with like the woods is very, very subtle. I wouldn't smell this and think, oh, it's woody, but it definitely takes it from just like a fruity, you know, simple fragrance to something more complex. It's very, very beautiful. I think with most mangoes, I have to be in the mood for them, but I appreciate them. So that is why it is my honorable mention. All right, so I did get 4 samples. All 4 samples are original blends, which again, makes me very excited. All 4 were good. I would own all 4 of these. I may buy all 4 of these, to be honest. Who are we talking about over here? So this Veil of Secrets, though, is my favorite one. The coconut in here is gorgeous. It smells like a coconut macaroon to me. It's light and sort of like this airy, crumbly sort ofness that I would think of a macaroon. It is very pretty. It's gourmand, but it's also very wearable and elegant. I see this as being a really beautiful and elegant fragrance to wear, say, to like a wedding or a brunch or something where there may be like some food involved, or like you want something sort of gourmand, but you want something really elegant and classy as well. I think it's so pretty, you guys. I love it. It's my favorite out of the samples, but like I said, all were good. I just had to cut it off somewhere. I could talk about all 21. I'm serious, you guys. There was not one that I thought, ugh. I think there was one that I put, it's okay, out of 20, actually 25. All the rest were either like a lot, or love, love, love. And that is really good for 25 fragrances. I cannot recommend that you guys go try and shop this sale enough. Like I said, it's going to be 35 to 50% off. And I believe that there are travel sizes as well that are going to be, I think, around like $10 to $15 somewhere in there. And then the 40 mils for about $23. You literally cannot beat that. The quality for the price, you cannot beat it. And I've tried other dupe houses. This is the best quality wise, matching a price. So highly, highly recommend. I thank them so much for being so generous and like trusting me to send these over. And I'm blown away. Now I'm going to be a paying customer myself. You guys have to let me know which of these sounds most interesting to you. Let me know if you've tried Julianna'S Perfumes yourself. Please put your favorites in the comments, because others may really want to see that as well as for their recommendations. I thank Julianna'S Perfumes so much for sending these over. Thank you so much for your time. Happy Thanksgiving, my beautiful ones. And as always, have fun shopping, budget shopping, and smelling fabulous. Bye.